I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today, we're going to review Jack White's first debut solo album, Blunderbuss. Now, I don't know where he came up with that album title. I'm sure one of you guys out there knows, and I would love to know, so let us know. Leave us a comment. But Jack White, if you don't know who Jack White is at this point in, mid-2012, you probably are dead or some sort of zombie, and that means the zombie apocalypse is coming, and I'm terrified. I'm glad I live in Iowa.
Yeah.
But anyways, Jack White, everyone knows the White Stripes, one of the most iconic guitarists of our time, known for his style, maybe not his technique, but definitely his style of just being all over the place, messy, distorted, but with tons of attitude. Did several albums with he and Meg White as the White Stripes, and then announced last year that they had broken up. After he had done, founded his own record label in Third Man Records, he had, done numerous other projects with other bands like The Dead Weather or Rack on Tours, and even, doing Rome with Daniel Lupi.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, Jack White is just this huge force in music right now. So for him to come out with a solo album is really a pretty neat thing. So to dive into this thing, I'm a big Jack White fan, White Stripes fan, and I think I've recruited Tom onto this bus.
Definitely, I really like the White Stripes.
Yeah, and so we were really excited about Blunderbuss. And to tell you the truth, this album overall was a little disappointing because, it's not, it's kind of like he picked up right where the White Stripes let off after Icky Thump. It's just, this album doesn't have nearly the edge that any White Stripes album ever did. Get Behind Me, Satan was probably the most docile White Stripes album, and I think that this is more docile than that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, you got to keep in mind that we're not just sitting here basing our opinions on expectations of what we wanted this album to be. Regardless of Jack White's past history, while I think it's definitely good to bring up, I just don't want anyone calling Jake out on that because it is important to bring up, but you have to keep in mind that if this wasn't Jack White, if it was anyone, we'd probably still have a lot of the same problems.
Right, exactly.
But just when you compare it, when you look at it juxtaposed with all his past work, then it's even more so just kind of strange.
Right. Well, and what I like about it is that it's not just this big lozenge of change right away. It's not like he's putting out a bad album. This Blunderbuss is by no way It's by no way a bad album. It's no way a step down from what he is. It's still a lot of the traditional Jack White sound that you've come to know and love. The album starts off with tracks like 16 Saltines and tracks like Freedom at 21 that are traditional White Stripes-esque songs where you have a blaring guitar solo. But then the album kind of shifts on you, and throughout the rest of the album, you see a much more larger dominance in sound. You see it's more of a Western sound. Almost, there's even like a quasi country track on here, but he's really rocking the Americana, indie folk genres here. This album sounds more like M. Ward than M. Ward's latest album, A Wasteland Companion. It really kind of was strange to me because it was so folksy in its roots, and it was something that I kind of appreciated because this is another side of Jack White we've never seen before or just had glimpses of in the past. But you still get a taste of that classic White Stripes sound.
Yeah.
So that was something that was nice. The other thing I noticed is that there was a huge inclusion of piano on this album. A nice addition to Jack White's sound, but it also kind of brings in the reins a little bit on the intensity. Piano it can be very intense, but usually when mixed with like rock music and folk music, it kind of brings in a more somber tune.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for those specific, certain softer tracks on an album, which actually you get a lot on Distill. You get, throughout the White Stripes discography. We can't talk today. We're switching syllables around.
We got really drunk before this review.
Oh yeah, right. But when it dominates the album to the extent that I think it does bring things down a little bit. It gives it more of a mature, kind of adult, just kind of want to sit at home and chill kind of feel.
Right. It's almost like Jack White is noticeably aging and becoming more mature and comfortable.
And he's still got the songwriting chops. I just don't feel like he has the energy, or maybe he does, he just didn't use it, to make it as convincing.
Right. It almost reminds me of like Paul McCartney as he aged and how his albums kind of changed over time.
I actually think that's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah,
for sure.
and it just sounds like Jack White is just chill, making the music that he wants to make, and I can't really knock the guy for that. I found this album to be, fairly enjoyable, but nothing that blew me away, ever. I don't really think that there's a bad track on this album. I also don't think there's any really outstanding tracks on that album. It's just kind of middle of the road, solid, fun to listen, fun to put on, but nothing that's going to change your life. It's something that we can enjoy now and be thankful for, that Jack White is still producing music.
Yeah, and I totally agree, and I know I'm going to give it a slightly lower score than you, and I want to explain real quick that I as well enjoyed this album, but anymore when I listen to music, the thing that I'm really starting to crack down on in the music that I listen to is I feel like just sitting and passively enjoying it isn't enough.
Right.
I really want something that jumps out at me, that sticks with me, that makes me think about it when I'm not listening to it. Right. And this didn't quite do that. And so for that reason, you know, I have to knock it a little bit, but really, if you're into this sound, if you like Jack White, check it out. You probably won't be that disappointed. You're not going to be like pissed off or anything.
Absolutely
I think the worst that's going to happen is you'll be like me and just kind of be like, it was good, but I'm not blown away.
Right. Where are you sitting at with this?
I'm going 68.
68? I'm at a 70 right now. This is one of those cusp albums.
Yeah.
It's not like there's anything wrong with it, but there's not a lot that is really right with it either.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that just blows you away. But, you know, you guys might have a completely different experience, and especially if you're really into Jack White and the White Stripes sound, this is something that you're going to check out and probably enjoy very well. Mm-hmm. So, with that in context, don't, you know, your opinion is always what's more important than any guy behind a camera or writing a music review. Your opinion is what counts. So let us know what you guys thought. You know, give us a comment, www.velocitiesinmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesinmusic. Also, as always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. That is where we communicate with you guys and really get to know what you're listening to and how you feel about it, because that's what this is all about, is having that dialogue about music. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.